So last week I uploaded a video about my desk setup tour, showed you what my desk is and what is the hardware gear that I use. Since then, a lot of comments have been made, a lot of questions have been asked. So I wanted to do a follow-up video to address some of those comments and questions. But before I do this, I want to give an overall thank you to everybody who's responded, especially the comments which talk about how my videos have helped you in your life and in your career. It's like, even after all these years, it just doesn't make sense. Me sitting in my room in a corner, talking to a camera and having that impact on someone else's life and someone else's career, somewhere else in the world. It's like, it blows my mind. I guess I'm grateful for the platform, the opportunity to be able to make that kind of an impact. It just doesn't make sense, man. It's like, thank you to all those people who have commented. It was really nice to see. Okay, well, onto the video. There were a few things that I left out and a couple of mistakes that I made. One mistake I did was about the RAM, which you might have obviously guessed. The amount of RAM I have on my desktop is 32 gigs, not 32 MB. Okay, so thanks to all those people who pointed that out in the comments, especially this one. 32 MB RAM is way too much. What are you going to do with all that power? Well, let me remind you that the Apollo 11 onboard memory, like the spacecraft that went to moon, had, I think, 32 kilobytes of RAM. So maybe with my 32 MB of RAM, I can go to Mars. You never know. But yeah, 32 gigs of RAM on my PC, 16 gigs of RAM on my MacBook. That's about all the RAM that I use, all right? The second thing that was commented about is that the screen is tilted. Yes, I realized that after a fact, and I tend to think of myself as a perfectionist. I don't commonly make like spelling mistakes in my videos, and it's not often that you'll find that. And I don't have a reviewer, okay? I don't have somebody who checks my work. It's just me. And I have this constant tendency to make sure that everything I do is kind of like perfect as it can get. But this is basically just a lack of experience in filming things in the real world. My experience is in filming things in the computer, the screen, all that kind of stuff. I kind of have that down, but real world filming footage, filming of B-roll and all that stuff, this is entirely new territory for me. So all the tilts and imperfections, it can all be chalked down to inexperience on my part. I'm not MKBHD, okay? So I don't know how to do this stuff. So my apologies for that. But yeah, there were a lot of things that weren't really ideal when it comes to showing my gear. But I guess you kind of got the message, which is basically I wanted to show what I use. So hopefully the message was conveyed across. There were some questions about me personally. Where do I live? I actually live in the Bay Area in California, very close to San Francisco, not exactly San Francisco. I live in the East Bay. Bunch more questions. Where are you basically from? Where am I currently living? Where am I working? Qualifications. Okay, so I'm basically from Bangalore, India, where I was born and spent like the first 25 years of my life. My schooling, my college was all over there. I moved out of Bangalore for my first job, which was in TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. I had switched a few jobs from there on, and I currently work in the Bay Area. I work for LinkedIn, a company which you might have heard. I work from the Sunnyvale office where the headquarters is located. Qualifications, I did my engineering in computer science in Bangalore, and yeah, I guess that's it. He sounds like Tushar Rai. No, my friend, Tushar Rai sounds like me. By the way, I heard the guy. He sounds nothing like me. What are you talking about? How tall are you? I am, well, hang on. Where do you want to know? Anyway, I'm 6 foot tall, right? A little over 6 feet. Is this your primary profession, or do you do some other job beside this? Well, this is not my primary profession. Like I said, I work as a full-time software engineer at LinkedIn. I am actually grateful for that because I've seen a lot of people make tutorial content on YouTube who don't have a proper coding job, right? Their full-time job is to make content on YouTube or wherever else, Udemy or wherever else. I'm grateful that I'm actually in the software industry because it kind of gives me more exposure to what it feels like in an actual software industry. I keep myself up to date, and that kind of, I'm hoping, enhances the tutorials that I make and adds more value to you as a viewer. So I'm grateful that this is not my primary profession. My primary profession is writing actual code for money. So I'm hoping that helps in the quality of videos that I make as well. Do you do regular job other than what you're doing online? If yes, how do you manage to learn all those different things along with tiring office hours? Well, office hours aren't really tiring. I'm grateful for a good work-life balance that I have in my company. And another thing is that I also don't do a lot of other stuff. My hobbies include reading, but I don't watch TV. I don't watch a lot of movies. So I guess that helps. But I don't know. I somehow find the time. Keyboard on fire. Well, I'm from the Bay Area. Please, no fire. There's a lot of fire going on here lately. Please do a video on health ergonomics. I would prefer not to do it because I am not an expert. I don't like talking about something that I'm not good at or I feel like I'm not qualified for. So there's a lot of content online for ergonomics. So please check it out. I'm not a good source for it. Now, people might ask, which camera do you use to make this video? Well, I actually used a camera that I use for filming personal stuff, which is a Sony 4K Handycam, and that's what I use for filming the desk setup. The reason it looks like it was filmed in the 1990s is because of the light. I used a common house light, which had a reddish tint. And that's the reason why it looks very, very dated. My apologies for that, but I just grabbed the lamp that I had in my house and then used it to light myself up because I couldn't show the light behind me, which is the light which is in front of me now. What do you use for sound recording? I forgot to mention that. I'm glad you asked it. So what I have is a lapel mic. Okay, it's this guy here. This is what I use for sound recording. It's a Sony lapel mic, which is attached to a very small digital to analog converter. This is kind of like a sound card. It's a USB sound card. I'll try to find the source for this and put a link in the description. But basically what it does is it has a mic out. I connect this mic out to this thing and connect this to whatever I'm using to record, whether it's a MacBook or my PC. And then this lapel mic goes over here. Some of you might have remembered I was using a slightly bigger mic, but I found it to be a little too much. I like things simple, and this works just fine. It doesn't capture a lot of the keyboard noise because it's kind of closer to my mouth than to the keyboard. So this works perfectly fine. And now people might ask me, what am I using to record sound for this video? Because I'm showing you this thing. Well, moving on. What version of the keyboard do you use? This is the question about the switches. So I'm using the brown switch for any of those mechanical keyboard enthusiasts there. I also saw a bunch of questions about what software I'm using for recording the screen, software for OBS and all that stuff. I am happy to make another video about the software side of things. I know I didn't cover any of that. Like I can talk about what software I use and how you can have your own YouTube channel, right? A guide to making your own YouTube channel on whatever you want to talk about. Let me know in the comments if that's interesting to you, and I'm happy to make a YouTube video on that. What about your chair? Well, my chair is nothing really special to talk about. It's just a generic office chair, as you can see. I got this from a store here called Office Depot, and honestly don't know. It's like just a generic chair. I paid like $100 for it. That iPhone is a bit dated. Yes, I have a really, really old iPhone. So the phone that I have is the iPhone 6S. This was, I think, released 5 years back. This is the one I use. It works fine. I haven't had a need to switch to a new one, but I'm thinking of getting a new one, maybe the next iPhone. I'm not too impressed by any of the newer phones, and this thing does the job, so I haven't had a need to get one. Pretty sure I already know this. Streamdeck. Yes, I am aware of Streamdeck. This is the reason why I'm kind of messing with the drum machine is it's fun to tinker. Okay, it's I like making things work. I know I can get an off-the-shelf solution, but it's a nice activity. It's a nice project to have this working, and at the end of the day, you feel good that you made something on your own. So I kind of like that. That's the reason why I'm doing this. It's a hack in the truest sense of the term. So that's what I want to do. I'm hacking my drum machine. Comment on finally seeing my sense of humor. Well, so this comment basically considers all my previous attempts at humor in all of my other videos to have not worked. Well, thank you. There were a couple of comments about how I get motivation to learn more stuff and do stuff. This is a tricky topic because I've always found the mention of motivation to be the wrong way of looking at things, because most people who work on anything really, not just software, they aren't always motivated, right? If you're looking for motivation as this kind of external thing, or maybe even an internal thing to actually drive you to doing something, it's not always going to be there. You cannot rely on motivation to drive your work. There has to be other reasons why you're working. So maybe I'll make a video on how you can kind of get yourself to the point where you're kind of working without having that need for motivation. Again, let me know in the comments if that's something you want to hear me talk about. I can kind of describe how I have found the drive to work and to learn in the industry. I've been in the industry for close to 18 years now. So I'm happy to share some insights that I have about how to keep going. Okay. So these were some of the comments and questions that were asked. I hope you found my responses to be helpful. And of course, feel free to let me know in the comments if you have any other questions that I can answer. Thanks for watching.